While everybody is coming in, I'm just like immensely grateful to be together today. The world feels like it is running so fast. I cannot keep up. I'm not a fast runner as it is, but this is extra. And taking these next 30 minutes just to like plant our feet a little more firmly, gain a little steadiness to take into this week, whatever it will hold. It just feels like so important and really like the healthy thing to do right now. I want to just share immense gratitude to you, Nama, for being so in tune with our hearts and just knowing how valuable a space like this is. Thank you for knowing what we would need today so much. We're going to come together every Monday just like this. So come when you can or come when you feel like it. We will share the recordings out if you miss one or if you want to revisit it during the week. If you have not experienced Naama before, Naama Sadan is a gorgeous educator and scholar who teaches many beautiful things, but focuses for us here on the unique, introspective, and expansive teachings of Yemima Avital, a teaching style that interweaves the psychological with the spiritual with the feminine, and it is unlike anything that I have ever learned before. And if you're new to Nama's teaching, welcome. We are so glad you're here. And please don't be worried if you hear Hebrew mentioned, everything will come into translation and understanding. But the beauty of the Hebrew is a piece of what elevates learning so much. And many of us are not Hebrew speakers, so have no fear. I promise that it will all come together. And as a learning community, we're all going to agree to chip in and help offer explanations in the chat. And please ask if there's something that you didn't catch. You'll be doing us all a favor. So just throw your questions into the chat and we'll all catch each other up. Please take a minute to make yourself comfortable, grab a warm drink and something to write with and write on. And I'm just going to say thank you to everyone. I'm so thankful to be here with you today. And thank you to Naama for starting our week together like this.
Hello, good morning. Good to be together here. Um, I'm sorry, my voice is going to be a little weird because I'm very congested. I live in Berkeley and we have a very wonderful weather. One of the things that happens with this weather is we have flowers all year round, all the time. It's just like you walk in Berkeley, there's always something blossoming. It's beautiful, I love it. But in May and June, there's like even more stuff, and I think I'm getting very allergic every year. So that's if you're like, what did she say exactly? Was this an N or a D? So that's just um, my situation. Each one of us is also in a situation, of course. You're sitting in a home, in your own body. There's some climate around you. There's some climate outside of your house. There are people who live either with you in the house or with you in the building or with you in the neighborhood and all these things, right? Um, they have implications and they change the way we are. Maybe they make us congested, maybe they make us happy, maybe they make us angry. And of course, we all live in the bigger climate. And lately, for uh, quite a long time, in a pretty unstable climate, both in the physical climate and definitely in the cultural and societal climate that we are embedded in. And um, yeah, so I want to just explain for a moment what we're doing. We're here for a half hour. It's a very short getting together, but the point of this meeting is we're doing it on Monday morning, at least Monday morning for West Coast, or noon if you're on East Coast time, um, or whatever other time wherever you are. But the idea is just that when we're transitioning into the work week, or into the week, right? From the weekend into the week, that's a transition. And transitions are kind of like a vulnerable times. Transitions are where like everything that happens can sometimes kind of like come to our face. Sometimes for those who work, it's like going back from like maybe family time or just like leisure time or just like calm time into like a very fast week. For those who maybe are retired, it's maybe to go from a time of, you know, of Shabbat into a time where people are less available. So maybe actually the weekend is the time that is like more social, and the week is the time that is more lonely. And for whatever, again, each person in their house, something else is happening. But in that transition into the week, something that happens sometimes is we're like can get overwhelmed by like everything that is happening. And it's like just to get ourselves like um, again, acquainted to the new thing that is coming. So we're trying, when we're getting together on these Monday mornings, to give ourselves uh, every week one more tool, or we call it anchor, Ogen, one more anchor to get our resilience up, to build up resilience every week. And we're especially feeling the need for that now in times of war, because the weekend, especially if you're keeping Shabbat in some way or just doing a digital fast, which some people do, with no phone, when you're getting into the week, suddenly the news are really coming to your face. And we're just trying to find ways of building resilience. And it's very important to make sure that we are building resilience and not just kind of like pushing away things from our life. There is, of course, a very deep wish to just let go of the news, push them away, neglect them. Um, but what we are hoping to do here is really to get together that little tribe of women to think, how can we revive these like women tribal, you know, reunions that we used to have in the digital world? So we don't go together to the bathhouse on Friday. We're not sitting together to, clean the rice. That's not going to be our life. That's over. But we can still come together to build resilience. And resilience is built by our ability to be embedded in things, to be connected, to belong. And what can we belong to? We can belong to this community. We can belong to the ancient words of our people. And we can feel the belonging to ourselves. And that's what we're going to try to do. The way we're doing it is we're starting with a bit of writing. So the writing is to create space. Our mind sometimes is very populated with a lot of thoughts and emotions. So just to write things down so that we have some space to open up to the words that we're going to learn together. Then we're going to learn words together, and then we're going to process them and see how they're fitting to what we need right now. Ariella mentioned Yemima, and Yemima was a woman, a teacher, a healer. She was born in Casablanca, Morocco, 1949, and in 1929, sorry, and moved to Israel in 1949, and was teaching there for many years. She was a daughter of a family of Kabbalists. She had a lot of knowledge. She also learned psychology at university, and she kind of like brought together these worlds. People came to her to heal, and she was healing with words. And she taught that words have a lot of power, but not words in a way that we're sometimes thinking about it as like a way to intellectualize things, but words as carriers of energy. She really taught us to be very, very attentive to our energy. And I'm saying that before we're starting just because, one of the most valuable resources in the world right now is attention. People are really vying for attention. The social media will do a lot, will invest a lot of money to get our attention. That's a currency. And we have to be pretty careful with how we budget our attention. Who are we giving it to? And in a way, when we want to build resilience, the first step is to take agency of our attention, to take our attention back. So that's another thing that we're trying to do here. And Yemima really spoke about the consciousness a lot, and about attention and the importance of attention and how attention builds energy, and how when we're putting our attention on a word, we can start feeling like these little waves. We're going to try to play with that a little bit today. Um, but really, even if for a half hour, we're kind of like putting our attention back, it can help us keep a direction for the week. What is it that I want to keep my attention on? I might still go on the news. I might still go on social media. It gives me a sense of control, of course, when I'm trying to read the news and get some clarity. But what we're going to try to remind ourselves also in this circle on Monday mornings is that the news probably are not going to give us the control that we want. They will take a lot of our attention. And we are asking, what is it that we want to put our attention into? Where can we have some control? And we're going to talk about very, very tiny little control. That's what Yemima really recommended. Small, small, small steps. I sometimes, when I started teaching Yemima, I called her the, um, oh my gosh, I always forget the name of this muscle in English. Um, how do you call that muscle that gets very weak after birth? The pelvic floor. Right. So I always called Yemima the energetical or the spiritual pelvic floor training because it's, when you train your pelvic floor, they're telling you like you do this like tiny little things. No one even sees it, right? It's just like if you're training your pelvic floor, you're doing very, very tiny small movements, but it really builds this muscle that holds so much. Apparently, it holds like whatever. I was very surprised when I learned how much it holds in our body, um, and how important this muscle is. And in a way, what we're, again, I'm trying to just give us images. What is that anchor that we want to build? It's like building the pelvic floor with small movements. It's like um, throwing anchors into the belly of the ocean to create a network that kind of like stabilizes a ship on a stormy water. It's kind of like um, the little I'm just growing now beans. It's like the beans that, they send their shoots up and then the shoots in the end connect and create this like nice sanctuary. It's like we're doing that little work, sending a shoot, casting an anchor, doing one movement in our pelvic floor. We're building resilience by doing these small movements, by adding one sentence every week. So let's do the work. Let's start with a minute of just like turning to ourselves, paying attention to ourselves. What's going on for me this morning or this noon, wherever I'm at? So we're going to take a minute to write. I'm going to call us back. And no rules in this writing except just paying attention to what's going on for me and just pouring everything to the paper. The paper can hold everything. And by that, we're making some space inside. So let's take some time to write. Okay, then let's take a few more seconds to close. And if you want to share one thing that is going on for you in the chat, please do. Uh, we're going to move from here. Hopefully, you feel a little bit of space, right? Sometimes just to acknowledge what's going on for me is already grounding. And I'm going to move into our words for today. Um, so we're going to do every week one sentence. Um, and the sentence I chose for us for today, it was hard to choose, but the one I chose for today is from the Book of Creation. The Book of Creation, or in Hebrew, Sefer Yetzirah, is the most ancient book of Jewish mysticism. It's a beautiful book. It's a very poetic and cryptic book, and it's very short. You can read it probably in an hour. Um, but it's kind of like, the kind of thing that you read and then you need to read again and again and again. And it's the story, the other story of how the world is created. And um, and it starts with like there are 32 paths with which God created the world. And these are the 10 sfirot, the 10 qualities, the 10 sfirot, the and the 22 letters. And there's like then a whole story that comes out of it. But the thing that I'm always so fascinated with Sefer Yetzirah, and why I feel it's so grounding for me and why I want to take our first anchor from there is Sefer Yetzirah has a lot of respect to time and place and to the body. And there's something very embodied about that book, which I feel sometimes I didn't learn these kind of things as a kid in Jewish education. And of course, there's a lot to teach and people choose what they can teach, but there's something in this book that is very magical and I love going back to it. So I'll read just like a Hebrew, just one sentence, just so that you'll hear the beautiful poetic rhythm, and then I'll give us the sentence we're going to work with for today. So in the Hebrew it says, עשר ספירות בלימה, עשר ולא תשע, עשר ולא 11, הבן בחוכמה וחכם בבינה, מכון בהם וחקור מהם, והעמד דבר על בוריו, והשב יוצר על מכונו. So you can hear it's like it's going with the rhythm. It's like it's a poem. It holds the mystery because it's a poem. And the language, the words, Yemima taught that many, many times. Listen to the energy of the words. It doesn't matter necessarily what people are saying as much as it matters what they feel when they're saying that. And she taught that, so much for us as kids depends on the warmth that we get through the words of our parents, not the words themselves. A parent can say no in a stern but warm way. And Yemima says, and the energy will go through to the kid. Because the energy, the warmth is what feeds our soul, she says. And the sentence I want to take with us for this week is "V'ha'ashev yotzer al mechono," and return the creator to their dwelling place. And return the creator to their dwelling place. V'hashev yotzer al mechono. And I'll explain why I love this sentence and how I hope it can be helpful for us for this week. Um, okay, so what does it mean to return the creator to their dwelling place? להשיב את היוצר על מכונו. So I feel like the first thing that really strikes me with this sentence is the fact that the creator can be not in its dwelling place. It can be displaced. And when I say creator, and my understanding is when Sefer Yetzirah says creator, they mean at the same time God and the soul, the creative part in each one of us. And when I hear this, "V'hashev yotzer al mechono," and return the creator to their dwelling place, I hear three things that I want to share with you. One is, first of all, the very basic assumption that things are not always in their place. So I feel a lot of the time, in these kind of times, we are asking, how is it possible that things are like this? How is it possible that things are like that? And Sefer Yetzirah here says something very simple from the beginning. Life is not a linear path. It's not supposed to be all the time ordered and clean and steady. The nature of life, the nature of the creator, of God in our soul, is that it is sometimes displaced. There's sometimes chaos. It's part of the story. I feel like there's something very relieving about this for me, just to know that it's not a bug, it's a feature. And I might really not like these parts, but it's a feature. And there's something very deep to accept about it. And I feel deeply that there's also something about, if we speak of the masculine and feminine principles in Jewish thought, but also beyond Jungian thought as well, there's something about the masculine principle that is like going forward. And that's a very Western way of thinking. And it's a needed and important way of thinking. But there's something about the masculine principle, this way of thinking, this modality of thinking, that is clearly telling us that things go in cycles. Cycles means that I'm not all the time going forward. It means that there's winter, which I might hate, and there's summer, and there's spring, and there's uh, fall. And if it's really cold in the winter, I'm not saying, oh my gosh, why is it so cold? I mean, I might. It's just a complaint, right? Um, but it's just the acceptance that life is also like cycles. I might be in my own cycle, right? Some people love having cycles. Maybe some people are really relieved not to have them anymore. But when you have your cycle going in your body, there are days when you're really bummed. And that is, again, if we're starting to ask the question of like, why is it not like this? Why is it not like, is in the week in the month where my skin looks great and my hair looks great and I feel good in my body? Why is it this day that today I have all the pimples and I feel bad and I have cramping? I could ask that, but I'm also understanding very deeply that this is just part of the cycle and it will pass in a few days. So for me, the first thing with this sentence and return the creator to their dwelling place is the basic assumption that the creator is not always in their dwelling place. It's not always that the creator is in the temple and everything is in place and everything is on the right place. And I'm saying this not to create more fear, chas v'chalila, but like to actually, I hope it can be a space of relief, of knowing like sometimes, like Kohelet tells us, like there's time of war and there's times of peace. And some people are really lucky to live their whole life in times of peace. And some people live part of their life in times of war. And that is how the world functions. And then the question becomes, what do I do in this part of the cycle rather than how do I try to reject that part of the cycle? Because I'm like, this is natural. It's natural there's winter, and it's unfortunately natural that there's times of war. And it's really hard to be in that part of the cycle. But if my soul was chosen to be born in that time, I am able to work with this part of the cycle. That is um, something that I am accepting as my kind of like basic assumption. And that really frees a lot of energy from rejecting reality to being able to work with reality. Would love to know if it resonates with people. If you could just show me in the chat if this is something that um, speaks to you. I don't know if it's just shocking or good. I do want to use the other 2 minutes that we have um, to share two more insights on this. So that's the first thing about return the creator to their dwelling. Um, and the other thing that I hear in this sentence, that this is why it's really calling me this week, and I hope it talks with your soul as well, is there's something about this actions of return the creator to their dwelling place. So this is a call to action from our ancient ancient words that tell us, please return the creator to their dwelling place. So to say, when we are in this part of the cycle, our work is to return the creator to their dwelling space. And that means to return my own soul to its place and to the best of my ability to work on returning the creator, with big C, to its place. And I want to say few things about what that can mean or what it means to me. First of all, it gives me a real new appreciation of the work of maintenance. The work of maintenance is sometimes really underappreciated, but it might sound funny, but I think of this sentence every time I fold laundry at home. I'm like, "V'Hashem yotzer al mechono, v'Hashem yotzer al mechono," and return the creator to their dwelling place. Again, this is the kind of like um uh the radical acceptance that there will be laundry again. This is part of the cycle in the house. I might want never to have laundry, but there will be laundry and I will fold it. But to feel the kind of like sacred work that we do when we return things to their place. The work of maintenance is not so shiny. It's not like doing the event. It's the people who are doing all the tiny little pieces to make the event beautiful, and then doing all the tiny work and with the little pieces to break down the event. Might not be the person who speaks in front of everybody. That might not be part of like the Hashev Yotzer al Mechono. That part might be part of it, but like just to see the big picture of like how many pieces need to go to their place. And that's the work of creation, to return it to their place all the time. So what it requires for me is to pay attention what's not in the place, not to be angry about it, just to see it and to return it to place. And to know that I'm doing something both for myself, for my loved ones, and for the bigger world. And return it to place means it could be like tangible, like laundry, and it could be, is my is my creative energy not in their place? How do I bring it back to place? How do I bring it back to the dwelling place, which in Hebrew is called mechono, which means back to the intention, back to the direction, to the kavanah. How do I bring it back to the intention? How do I bring my mind that kind of like swifted away back to the intention of what I want? To be warm towards myself, to be warm towards the people in my life. So that's also to return the creator to their dwelling place. Again and again, rebalance and rebalance. Yemima calls it rebalance and rebalance again. This is the work. Return the laundry to its place. Return my feeling to its place. Just see it, not to be angry. The world is not in its place. And return it to the place. Return it to the intention. Return it to the direction. Return it to something that is important to me. Yemima makes it very easy. She says the most important thing is to turn towards yourself and not against yourself. So, but if you have other intentions, then that's perfect too. Um, I think I'm going to stop here in honor of time. But before we're closing, I would love to just say the sentence one last time in Hebrew and in English, and to have you just put in the chat one thing, whatever your interpretation is for the sentence, whatever word speaks to you most from the sentence, but one thing you're going to take with you for the week. So we started with just making some void, some space for new words to come in. We spoke about the words. Now I want each one of us to take it to their own climate, to their own context, to their own life. What is one thing you're going to work with, to walk with, not work? We don't need to make effort. There's enough going on. But what is something you're going to walk with for this week? So this, again, the sentence is, V'Hashev yotzer al mechono, return the creator to their dwelling place. Just give us your interpretations, please. Great. Thank you so much for your words. We will send them back to you as a reminder.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nama, for joining us here today. I came into this session expecting to learn something from you, and I'm walking out with some knowledge that laundry can be holy and sacred, which is just like a brand new to me. But it's funny, one of the things my dad always says whenever I complain to him about whatever has gone wrong in the house or needs to be, he's always said, life is maintenance, life is maintenance. And I like this way of thinking of the cycles and bringing intention to that. So I just want to remind everyone that Ogen is going to meet again every Monday for the next few weeks. We're going to meet for about 30 minutes, so noon Eastern time, 9 Pacific time, and we really, really want to see you there. So uh, I'd love to ask everyone to commit to asking just one friend, inviting just one friend to join us next week. And we're going to drop a link right in the chat that you can use to send out. You can always forward the emails, just the more the merrier. If you haven't joined the WhatsApp group, you can go ahead and do that. It'll be just occasional reminders, and we will share some of the information from today in the WhatsApp group as well, so you can see that there. And just finally, thank you everyone who so generously donated. We're so grateful and we're so dependent on your kind generosity. Uh, every gift makes a difference. It helps us run these programs without any charges towards you to keep them free and accessible. So please, if you can consider a gift, no matter what size, you would be so grateful. And that link is in the chat as well. So thank you again, Nama, for leading us, and we'll see you next week. And in the meantime, if anyone has any questions, any worries, please feel free to reach out to us over email, over the WhatsApp group, just any way that we can continue to be a community. Thank you so much for joining us. And with that, we're gonna say goodbye for time's sake, and we will see everyone again next week. So thank you so much.